So moisture is obviously a concern for sellers and for buyers, and people want to be prepared if you're buying, obviously, but also if you're selling. We've got more on that on the show here tonight. Ian, you're an expert. You are the owner of MDC, and you're going to take us through some products that will be familiar to people, plus some ones you've designed yourself just for the New Zealand market.
Yes, thank you, Wayne. I think we're talking about reliability. So when someone's testing the house, they get a bit of certainty, so they're not buying a lemon, we might call it. And I think the issue that we're all facing is that if the building's got paint on it, the buyers either see a bonus or that they can buy the house really cheap.
Yep.
But for the seller, they might think that the house has never leaked, that they're not part of this leaky building problem, and they just can't prove it.
Yeah, so both parties are unsure on where they stand. So what would they currently be familiar with in the market?
Okay, well, the main bit of tool that's used is a non-invasive scanning device, which is this particular one here. This is a protometer. It's specifically designed to measure moisture. It has two functions. One function is it emits a radio frequency out of the base, and as we put that against something that might be sort of like moisture, it will start pinging.
Gotcha.
Right, so they claim it measures 20 millimetres deep, but our experience is it would be very lucky to do that. Right? And it's true, if we put this over a surface like jibboard, for example, which is where it's commonly used, if the jibboard is wet, as you come across the wet part, it should ping. It should ping and warn us.
And why does it pick up that?
It's picking it up because there's a change in density of the jibboard. Now, it might also be that there's nails or strapping or jib foil or something else in the wall, hold down bolts, a concrete plinth that's been put in there to correct a weather tightness problem.
So it's actually the density it's picking up. So you could get a number of...
it's definitely not a moisture.
It's
not a moisture reading at all.
There could be a number of different reasons for the density to change. Then it's the operator making the decision that they know what is creating the density change.
And hence, to give the building inspector a bit of surety about that, they then start writing opinions, which are very hard to overcome, because an opinion, they can't discount it's not water.
Okay, okay.
But they can't state with conclusive proof it is water. So there's another, this is a dedicated scanning device. You calibrate this to a certain thing, like I'll calibrate it to the ear at the moment so we can sort of see what it does. This is a different frequency, a bit more accurate, and just for the camera there, as I bring my hand to it, it starts picking up the field or the density of my hand until it's encapsulated. So this one probably will go 20, 30 millimetres deep, but again, it's only density, it's not moisture content. So moisture content, strictly speaking, moisture should really be done, we should really be testing moisture by removing a piece of timber, right? Weighing it, oven drying it, and then weighing it again, and the difference over the dry weight is the moisture content. And then putting the bit of timber back in the wall, right? Which is not possible.
So we can't do that.
No, can't do that.
And these are non-invasive, and I think some of the technology that you have developed here for New Zealand is what we call invasive. Now, the first time I say that, the shutter goes through the owner thinking we're either going to cut panels off or we're going to take jib off the inside, but it's far easier than that.
Yeah, or alternatively, there might be little pairs of holes, like here there's two holes. So if I put my hand on that, it's measuring the, this is putting a current across there, and the resistance is converted into a reading, which if it's measuring wood, we can call a moisture content reading because it's been set for radiata pine in New Zealand.
Yeah, cool.
So if I push that into the bit of wood, this wood here has been in the room for a long time, so that's reading 8.9%, so dry as anything. If I put that through the jib board, we are left with two little holes. So building inspectors will come and say, oh, I see someone's been putting holes in your wall. Was it leaking or was it not leaking? I don't know. I better put my own hole there. So they put another hole there.
So it's getting worse as it goes. Well, shall I, we've got this demonstration here, or this model here, and I'll turn this around shortly, but I guess from the outside of the house, you're looking at some common areas in which you'd say if there is an issue, you'd probably have a look around here.
Yeah, definitely under windows.
Under the windows and also under a door, yeah?
And cladding connections and things
Cladding
like
connections,
roof
yep.
connections, decks, things like that.
Where the detail is.
Yeah, because it's the detail that leaks. Generally, claddings don't leak themselves, apart from maybe wicking up the bottom.
Yep.
But it's generally, when we cut a hole through the cladding, how do we bandage that up?
Yeah, and how have we dealt with that?
Yeah.
Let me turn this around and we can start looking at what you do, and that's a demonstration of, I guess, the finished product and how it looks. And again, that's when I look at the bumper on the car, it looks pretty familiar. You know, it's certainly nothing harsh. Yeah. That one there's just a different colour for what reason?
Remove skirting or something like that.
Okay, great. So we've got the timber skirting on there. You'd be into that shade, yeah.
Yeah, we've jumped a bit, Wayne, but ideally, what we're wanting to try and do is to measure the moisture content with the current.
Yep.
Rather than taking too much wood out.
Yep.
Out close by the cladding, because the cladding's what gets wet.
Sure.
Well, when it's leaking, the cladding gets wet. The wet cladding wets the wet wood because we've got face-fixed claddings.
Yep.
And when the wood gets wet, then it starts to rot. So if we can measure the wood out close to the cladding. So what I've done is I've basically changed these two little pins here into a longer one that we can put into the wall.
Goes the depth in.
Yeah, so if we turn this rig around, this is the probe. So we drill through the skirting board, through the jib board, through the bottom plate, so the electrical resistance reading is right out there by where the cladding goes.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So as opposed to getting a reading just here, or just here,
Or on the jib board.
or on the jib,
Yeah.
we're now going all the way into where the highest risk would be.
Yeah.
And getting a reading off that.
Yeah.
And I think it's not right to say it's a byproduct, but as you're drilling in, I know that you're getting more detail out of that
Yes,
inspection.
we'll go into those a bit later. But firstly, people's mind is the moisture content.
Yes.
So if I come to a building after 20 years, right, and the moisture content's fine,
Yep.
then we should have a bit of confidence in the building details.
Fantastic.
Or do we? Because what if the wood has already got some problems? Yeah. So the moisture content is really good for a point-in-time assessment like today.
Yep.
Now, if I leave the probes in, we can check it again when it's raining, or in the summer.
Ah, fantastic.
Or next year when you want to buy it, or maybe you're doing some maintenance on the house and you've got a few cracks around the building, and you think, oh, should I repair it like that, or should I get it tested first? So rather than doing cutouts through the cracks, we can just put a few probes in the back and confirm if the wood's in good condition, then yes, carry on. Or if it's not leaking, then maybe all you need to do is bandage up the cracks and repaint the house.
So Ian, how many of these would we need in a home?
Well, one's a good start. It's always a good start because it shows the owner that we're getting really good information.
Yeah, cool.
And then it begs the question, what about other parts of my building? Right?
Yep.
Because I've been told, or I've had a building report which identified just my front door's leaking or just the garage is leaking. But is there anything else going on?
Sure.
So obviously, if a building is built with, say, not very many risky details, like it's got soffites that are big and wide and it's single level, then we might not need hardly any at all, just some testing ones. But as the building gets higher and the eaves disappear and the internal gutters appear and decks start getting built and then roof junctions are meeting the cladding and windows with arches on them, pagodas going through the wall. They're all the things that we've breached the cladding's defence and we're trying to either seal it or flash it to stop water getting in. So rather than condemn everything, we should put these probes underneath first. Because what if 25 of them are okay and one of them isn't? Then we don't have to rebuild 25, we just rebuild one.
And see, I think that's a great point. Nobody ever talks about, well, it's got one spot. People say it is or it isn't. And I think that's an important point, isn't it? If there's 25, 24 are fine, one's got an issue, we address that one issue and we have confidence with the rest of it.
Yeah, so people like me that have been in the industry for goodness knows how long, we can come to a building and it's easy for us to identify the very worst place. It'll stand out to us instantly from the road. So if we do one cutout underneath that one detail and we find some rot there, it's really easy to convince you your whole building's ruined. But that's not going to be the truth. If the back door has got a soffite over it, why will it be damaged? Right, so we owe it to the owner to test the building thoroughly before they make any big decisions.
Yeah,
right?
great. Because people, and they are big decisions, people are making literally $1 million decisions on some of this technology without having the full picture, whether they are selling or whether they are buying. And I guess if you're selling and you're not sure, you could be discounting a product that you don't need to discount.
Yeah, or repairing too.
Yeah.
It's in everyone's interest.
So Ian, that's where we are now, but you've got some improvements on that, haven't you?
Yes, we have, yeah. Especially for wood condition and treatment testing and things like that, which are important decisions for determining how you can repair the building if you find a problem, or even reinforce to a buyer that the building isn't a disaster.
Ian, I'm really, really looking forward to getting together again. I know we're then going to have a look at some of the detail that is in there and what we do with that. And that's going to give people confidence, certainly when you're buying, but also if you have just bought and you want to sell the house again. I would love that you do this so that in a year, 2 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, when you're ready to sell again, we can demonstrate to the next buyer the integrity of your property. Well, thank you very much, Ian. Really appreciate that, and I'm looking forward to next time.
Thank you.